19 and 21. Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 8 says, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not on thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Be not wise in thy own eyes. Fear the Lord, and depart from evil. He shall be health to thy marrow, and marrow to thy bones." So trusting in the Lord, not on our own understanding. So it is very important, and it's one of those doctrines that we need to have in our life, to trust in God. And we might not have much of the stress and depressions that people who doesn't really know much about God have in the world. Now, next slide, please. And stress, I just put there, self-trust, restricting every spiritual success. But if we believe in God, we trust in God, we will have less stress in our life. If the outlook is bad, we have to try the outlook. So if it doesn't look nice, then we know where to go. We seek the Lord. Open air. I just gave a brief of this, but there's more in depth on those subjects. The therapeutic value. It purifies the blood, supplies our trillion cells with needed oxygen, produces an internal environment which cancer and AIDS cannot survive. Negative ions resist infection. Where do you get most of the negative ions from the air? What type of air? What type of environment we get more negative ions? Do you have any idea? Yes. On a waterfall, ocean, where there's, or even early in the morning when they still dew on the grass. Remember the song, I come to the garden in the morning. Yes. So when it's best, that's the best time, I think, to exercise when there's still dew in the morning. If you can do exercise when there's less traffic on the roads, if you live in a city like here. And the application, plenty of fresh air of country air is best. Breathe deeply, stomach out when inhaling and through the nose, stomach in when exhaling through the mouth. That's the way we should breathe. And we should also keep the windows cracked all year round for good ventilation in our houses. Because if the air in the house is not good, we might not have good sleep again. And we wake up in the morning, we don't feel that energetic to go to work or do our chores around the house. So we should have at least windows a little bit of crack so that the air can circulate in our homes. And if there are big trees around the houses also, they cannot, they will help the air, but we need to have also sunlight. We'll see that in the next few slides there, that sunlight is also important to come through our windows in the house. Any addition or? All right, next slide. Says it's not that clear, but that's from Testimonies for the Church, Volume 2, page 525. It says, the chief reason why many become invalids is that the blood does not circulate freely, and the changes in the vital fluid which are necessary to the life and health do not take place. They have not given their bodies exercise, nor their lungs food, which is pure, fresh air. So exercise is vital, and fresh air is vital to our well-being. The blood moves sluggishly through the system, but is not purified and vitalized by pure air. As you can see that guy there. Next slide. Daily exercise. It's one of the important things that we should have on our schedule each day. Daily exercise. It should be daily. Strengthen the heart, blood, vessels, and muscles. It increases the efficiency of the lungs and the number of blood cells. It builds the immune system, promotes sound sleep. If you work, if you exercise, you have a good sleep. And on the application, Romans chapter 1, verse 17 says, walk around. That's the text that supports the bottom statements that are written there. Walking and Outdoor labor are the best form of exercise. Strenuous exercise immediately after a meal hinders the digestion. So after you have eaten, don't go and do strenuous exercise. It's not good for your digestion. A short walk after a meal is very beneficial. So don't go and don't have a nap after a meal. You need to take a good walk after a meal. Increase exercise gradually. It's not about pushing too hard. It's just gradually as you increase your exercise and never overdo it. I don't know if you can change the color, but it says walking in all cases where it's possible is the best remedy for diseased bodies, because in this exercise all organs of the body are brought into use. There's no exercise that can take the place of walking. So walking, you don't need to do strenuous exercise. Walking is the best exercise you can do. That's from Testimonies, Volume 3, Testimony to the Church, Volume 3, page 78. Next slide. If you got some comments, you just raise your hand so that you can.
Yeah, I hear that swimming is also very good exercise.
That's
I also like swimming because it gives you a full cardiovascular workout and uses all the muscle groups within your body.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's something those are looking forward to. I don't know if Vern is here. Is he here? The third one should be where's Vern? The Vern. Do you remember when you said to me that you used to go swimming out by Theatre 2 then? You want to talk to that?
I was distracted a wee bit there. Yeah, I don't do it so much now because of the time factor, but I should really. I'm supposed to be reaching up. Anyway, I would go down to Paul's, what's it called? The big one. They just go up and down about an hour. And mind you, hand flip is like a small peak, so that but I just coast on that, you can do it. I found it very beneficial. Yeah, it's really good.
And for, in case you guys are wondering, Vern, if you get to age 50 and you start counting backwards from there, Vern should be 22.
The Rec Centre does water walking, not walking on the water, walking in the water. And you can go there really early in the morning, and they do 2 sessions in the morning, and I think they also do 1 at night. Really good for people that are overweight like me, because you feel a sense of weightless.
Thank you. And what else that the exercise helps? It helps our digestion, promotes intestinal activity. Our PowerPoint are not really working well. Anyway, reduces gas and constipation. Next slide. I found that from the book My Life. It says, morning exercise in walking in the free, invigorating air of heaven, or cultivating flowers, small fruits and vegetables is necessary to a healthful circulation of the blood. It is the surest safeguard against colds, coughs, congestions of brain and lungs, inflammation of the liver, kidneys and the lungs, and 100 other diseases. So, doing physical work in your garden, it's a part of exercise, and you're also growing fruits and vegetables, which is also beneficial for your health. Next slide. Patriarchs and Prophets, page 50, said, to the dwellers in Eden was committed the care of the garden, to dress it, to keep it. Their occupation was not wearisome, but pleasant and invigorating. God appointed labor as a blessing to men, to occupy his mind, to strengthen his body, and to develop his faculties. In mental and physical activity, Adam found one of the highest pleasure of his whole existence. That's another quotation. I got a lot of quotations from different books written by Ellen White. It said, the more we exercise, the better will be the circulation of the blood. So exercise helps the circulation of blood in our system. More people die for want of exercise than through over fatigue. Very many more rust out than wear out. Those who accustom themselves to proper exercise in an open air will generally have a good and vigorous circulation. Thank you. William? Sunshine. We heard from Elder Harvey about that he went to the doctors and found that he was taking vitamin what? Vitamin D. And it's for free from the sunshine. Says lowers resting heart rate and blood pressure, increases oxygen content of the blood and decreases blood cholesterol, increases white blood cells, and vitamin D is produced by what? By the sun. On the application says 6 square inches on the face and hands for about an hour daily. And that should not be on the around 12 midday when it's too hot. You see that too much when on a high-fat diet may lead to what? Skin cancer. Don't allow any trees too close to the house. They keep the sunlight out. So we need to also have sunlight in our houses, because the bacteria can survive where there's dark corners or dark rooms in our homes. Next slide. Malachi 4 verse 2 says, the sun of righteousness shall rise with healing in its wings. So it's very important to have sunlight. There is healing in the sunlight. Sunlight changes cholesterol in the skin to vitamin D. We've seen that. Sunlight stimulates the liver in all its functions. Sunlight increases oxygen levels in the blood. We've seen that. It says in older people need more sunlight. I found that from Ministry of Healing, chapter 275, said, vigor declines as years advance, leaving less vitality with which to resist unhealthful influences. Hence, the greatest necessity for the aged to have plenty of sunlight and fresh, pure air. Proper rest. It says decrease muscle tension, increase natural hormones, which act as a tranquilizer. The body is prepared and revitalized. Rest is taken to the organs of elimination when we are resting. Individual is prepared for the next day's duties, and all the application is about 7 to 8 hours of sleep are the best. And it says that hours before midnight, 2 hours before midnight, that's where the deepest sleep occurs. So,
if I might just add 2 things there. One, scientific research shows that the older you get, the less you need. So if you're not sleeping 7 hours a day, you don't fret too much.
yes.
The body actually compensates for that. And secondly, teenagers, young folk, are programmed to actually get up in the night at around midnight. So if the young ones are actually doing that, they'll fret, and it's naturally built into their system to do that as well. So they will get 7 or 8 hours eventually, maybe when they go to school and they're sitting in someone else's class.
Thank you. And it is important to have regular hours where we go to sleep. And we should not go to sleep when we have a full stomach, because the stomach needs to rest when we are in bed too. And rest is necessary for what? For healing. So what is the best time to go to eat before we go to sleep? How many hours before we go to sleep? 3 hours.
I think it makes big sense when we think of it. Because of the way we are living nowadays, we run short of time. But we have to make time. Because like Brother D is saying, that eating and when we eat is very important. It has to do a lot with our health, because when we stretch ourselves in the night, it's a long stretch. I try to bring back my grandfather used to teach us, because my mother is Asian, and my grandfather's system was, because he came from China, and his system was,
that you must eat before 6 p.m. You eat before 6 p.m., you go to bed even at 8 or 9. That gives you enough time, even if you're doing nothing, just hanging around in the house, for your food to go down. And we mostly, I mean, I was just laughing, I was just trying to look at my missus just now and laugh at what they were saying. Because sometimes we eat after 15 minutes, we are like stretching and watching TV. You know, and we try to load what we miss out on the whole day. You know, like we probably eat 3 meals in one time because we meet lunch and thing. So it becomes a habit, and that is what we are making a big mistake. And our children are watching it as well. When we lie down on one room watching TV or on a couch in the sitting room, our children are in the kitchen with another TV doing the same. So we miss out on a lot of things. They miss out on the study, we miss out in the long run on our health, and everything starts catching up. What I suggest is, a brother has here about 2 or 3 slides back, is go on a basic thing, what God created in the beginning for us. For Adam and Eve, you know, when a garden of Eden, there's only fruit and vegetables.